day 540 of the Trump administration, and an explosive development as we've been covering all day in the Russia investigation, with the president just 2 days away now from his summit and private time with Vladimir Putin. Let's put it this way. If you wonder if we were really hacked by the Russians, if you question the links they went to affect our election, or if you wonder what the special counsel has been up to all this time, read the indictment that came out today. Robert Mueller charged 12 Russian military officers with a sustained, wide-ranging cyber attack on this country's democratic process. The indictment alleges the Russian agents conspired to interfere with our 2016 election by hacking the DNC, the Clinton presidential campaign, and the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee. Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein explained how the alleged conspiracy unfolded.
The defendants worked for 2 units of the main intelligence directorate of the Russian General Staff, known as the GRU. The conspirators created fictitious online personas, including DC Leaks and Guccifer 2.0, and they used those personas to release information, including thousands of stolen emails and other documents, beginning in June of 2016. The conspirators corresponded with several Americans during the course of the conspiracy through the internet. There's no allegation in this indictment that the Americans knew they were corresponding with Russian intelligence officers.
Further on that point, Rosenstein added no Americans were charged in the indictment and said it does not allege that election results were altered. He also said the investigation continues. We learned today Rosenstein briefed the president, told him this was coming before the president left on his overseas trip. Tonight, the president's planned Monday meeting with Putin remains on the schedule. Here is the president on the topic of election interference in London this morning. And remember, he knew about this coming indictment.
I will absolutely bring that up. I don't think you'll have any, gee, I did it, you got me. There won't be a Perry Mason here. I call it the rigged witch hunt. I think that really hurts our country, and it really hurts our relationship with Russia. I think that we would have a chance to have a very good relationship with Russia and a very good relationship with President Putin.
Will you tell Putin to stay out of U.S. elections?
Yes.
Today's indictment from Mueller has a number of stunning revelations within it. It says, quote, on or about June 8, 2016, the conspirators launched the public website DCLeaks.com, which they used to release stolen email. That's just one day before that infamous Trump Tower meeting on June 9. Another notable revelation, quote, on or about July 27, 2016, the Russian conspirators attempted after hours to spearfish for the first time email accounts at a domain hosted by a third-party provider and used by Clinton's personal office. That day is important because this happened on that day.
Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing. I think you will probably be rewarded mightily by our press.
Do you have any qualms about asking a foreign government, Russia, China, anybody, to interfere, to hack into a system of anybody's in this country?
Well, they probably have them. I'd like to have them released.
Does that not give you pause?
No, gives me no pause. If they have them, they have them.
Another part of the indictment refers to the time when the DNC convention was getting underway. It says an unnamed organization believed to be WikiLeaks messaged the Russians saying, if you have anything Hillary-related, we want it in the next 2 days. The indictment also says the Russian intel officers posing as the hacker Guccifer 2.0 wrote to a person in regular contact with the Trump campaign asking, did you find anything interesting in the docs I posted? That person is not named, but is widely believed to be Roger Stone, the longtime Trump campaign advisor. He was asked about this indictment earlier tonight.
I certainly acknowledge that I was in touch with Trump campaign officials, and I have testified under oath to the House Intelligence Committee that I certainly had a 24-word exchange with the persona Guccifer 2.0 over Twitter.
It's also
in retrospect, I think I probably am the person referred to. The reason I'm not charged in this indictment is because I received nothing from the defendants. I passed nothing on from the defendants. There's no evidence of collusion or conspiracy or coordination.
And the following is interesting for what it doesn't say. The White House responded to this indictment with a statement that reads in part, "Today's charges include no allegations of knowing involvement by anyone on the campaign and no allegations that the alleged hacking affected the election result." Again, notably here, no criticism or condemnation of Russia. With that, let's bring in our leadoff panel on a busy Friday night. Jeremy Bash, former chief of staff at CIA and the Pentagon, former chief counsel to House Intelligence Committee. Mika Ouyang, an attorney and former staffer for the House Intelligence and Armed Services Committee. And Matt Apuzzo, Pulitzer Prize-winning reporter for the New York Times. And Matt, I'd like to begin with you because you've been on this story from the very start. Having said that, how significant was today in your view?
I think it was really significant, and here's why, Brian. I think, flashback to January of 2017 when the intelligence communities put forward their report that really said, for the first time, we think Russia did it. This essentially adds all the details, the why, the who, the when, and obviously we've been dealing with over the past 18 months, the president of the United States on again, off again, saying, I believe the report, I believe the report, I don't believe the report, I believe Putin when he says he didn't do the hacking. And here's Bob Mueller's rejoinder to that. He says, let me tell you, here are the names of the Russian intelligence officers. Here are the dates they started. Here are the positions they held. Here's the physical addresses they were in. Here are the email addresses they used. Here's how they routed their communications through servers in Malaysia. It's really, really detailed information, and I think it really spells out the government's case in full for why they are so confident that the Russian government was behind these hacks. And again, I mean, it bears repeating, these hacks are front and center key issues in the 2016 election.
So, Mika, what does the timing of today say to you? Does it say that this prong of the Mueller effort is over and will be moving on? Does it say on the Friday before a Helsinki summit on Monday that this is a warning shot to Donald Trump?
So I think that we are seeing here a very important brick in this wall. This is not the end. This is the beginning of the middle. This is not something that people are going to say, okay, well, we've done this part and now we're moving on to other things. The timing on this with Helsinki, it really changes the narrative for the president and this summit, which everyone thinks is a terrible idea. And what we've seen in this summit is something that Trump has tried to do over and over again, which is establish a secret channel and a private channel to Putin. We saw them try to do this during the campaign. We see them trying to have this conversation now in this summit where there are no other witnesses present. You wonder why he would do this if, in fact, he is not at all connected to the allegations in the indictment today.
So, Jeremy, a two-part question for you. How would a rational actor president respond to this? How scared would you be? Part one. Part two, what did you learn from this document today you didn't learn before?
Well, I think any other president would walk into the summit on Monday and actually serve this indictment on the Russian president, because after all, it was the Russian government's own intelligence officers that are named herein, 12 of them by name, of course, bringing the Mueller tally to 32 individuals indicted. 5 have been convicted. And Bob Mueller, I think, is really letting the facts speak for themselves. And to your second question, what facts did I learn? First of all, I think it's very relevant, as you noted in the setup, Brian, that the day before the Trump Tower meeting, and remember, that meeting was set up as a Russian government delegation that was supportive of Donald Trump's candidacy going to meet with the senior high command of the campaign in the campaign headquarters. There's no getting around that the day before is the day that, in fact, the Russian intelligence agencies set up D.C. leaks and other ways to weaponize the information they had stolen. And then second, that on the very same day that Donald Trump said, please try to hack Hillary Clinton's personal servers, in addition to whatever you were doing with respect to the DNC, that night, after hours, for the first time, the intelligence agency actually tried to engage in a spear phishing attack on Hillary Clinton's personal server. And when Katie Turf from NBC actually asked the president in that video clip, he said they probably already have them, indicating, I think, to the entire world that he knew full well what had been briefed to his team on June 9th at Trump Tower, that, in fact, the Russian intelligence agencies had engaged in this hacking operation.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.